Buckle up, everyone, because today we're taking a deep dive into the future of electric vehicles.
Sounds exciting.
It is, and it might get a little bumpy. We're looking at this excerpt from Pasted Text, and it's all about how the recent presidential election could really shake things up for Tesla.
Uh-huh.
Especially given the new president's stance on electric vehicles.
Right.
So the big question is, could getting rid of the EV tax credit actually help Tesla, even if it ends up hurting the entire electric car market?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
The source material dives into some pretty interesting ideas on that.
So let's start with the former president.
Yeah.
You know, his whole thing about the electric vehicle mandate.
Oh, yeah. He had some pretty strong opinions about that.
Yeah, he called it, what was it, outlandish?
Yeah, and cruel.
True.
He really didn't like the idea of the government telling car companies what to do.
So for those who maybe aren't super familiar with all the policy jargon,
Sure.
can you quickly break down what exactly a mandate is?
Yeah, so basically, a mandate in this context means that car makers are required by law to produce a certain percentage of electric vehicles.
Right, so it's like setting a quota.
Exactly. And the former president's argument was that this kind of interference in the free market was ultimately going to hurt both businesses and consumers.
And now the new president wants to do away with that.
Yeah, seems like it's high on his agenda.
Interesting. So then what about the $7,500 tax credit for electric vehicles?
Right. Well, that's another big piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
The new president wants to eliminate that, too.
And how could that potentially impact the overall EV market?
Well, think about it. If you're on the fence about buying an electric car and suddenly that $7,500 incentive disappears, it might just push you back towards a good old-fashioned gas guzzler.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it's not just individual buyers that those tax credits are gone. It could also discourage those big automakers from investing as much in electric vehicle production because the financial incentive just isn't as strong anymore.
So you're saying that removing these incentives might actually lead to fewer electric vehicles on the road?
That's certainly a possibility, and that's what makes the whole Tesla situation so interesting.
Okay, so bring us back to Tesla.
Right, so this is where things get a little counterintuitive. The article suggests that Tesla, as a luxury brand, might actually benefit from a shrinking electric vehicle market.
So wait, are you saying that Tesla could actually do better if fewer people are buying electric cars?
That's the argument, and here's why.
Okay.
People who buy Teslas are often less sensitive to price changes.
Oh.
They're not as worried about that $7,500.
They're in it for the Tesla experience.
Exactly. The brand, the technology, the status that comes with owning a Tesla.
Right.
But for someone considering a more affordable electric car, like, say, a Chevy Bolt or a Nissan Leaf, that $7,500 could be the deciding factor between going electric or sticking with gas.
Oh, I see. So if fewer people can afford electric vehicles, that could mean less competition for Tesla.
Exactly. It's like clearing the playing field for the luxury players.
Wow. So it's this weird twist where a policy that's meant to encourage electric vehicles might actually end up giving Tesla an even bigger edge.
It's a fascinating case study in how market forces can play out in unexpected ways.
So let's talk a little bit about this close relationship between Elon Musk and the new president, because that feels relevant here.
It definitely adds another layer to the story.
Yeah.
And you have to wonder if this connection influenced any of the policy decisions being made.
Right. Like, did Elon Musk maybe whisper in the new president's ear about how getting rid of the tax credit could actually help Tesla in the long run?
It's impossible to say for sure, but it's certainly something that people are speculating about.
For sure. And it's worth noting that our source for this deep dive is The Independent, which is known for its global perspective and its commitment to reason and a progressive agenda.
Right. So it's important to keep that in mind when considering their analysis of the situation.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and talk about the bigger picture here.
Okay.
What are the potential implications of all of this if we do see a shift away from electric vehicles?
Well, on a societal level, it raises some serious concerns about equity. If electric vehicles become even more of a luxury item, it could create a two-tiered transportation system.
Where only the wealthy can afford to drive electric.
Exactly, and that would further widen the gap between the haves and have-nots.
And what about the environmental impact? I mean, we're already facing this urgent climate crisis.
Right, and a slowdown in the adoption of electric vehicles could mean we're stuck relying on fossil fuels for even longer.
Which would mean more greenhouse gas emissions and more damage to the environment.
Exactly, it's a step in the wrong direction.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We've talked about the new president's stance on electric vehicles, the potential impact of eliminating the tax credit and the mandate.
Right.
And the unexpected possibility that Tesla might actually thrive in a shrinking electric vehicle market.
It's a lot to process.
It is, and it's clear that this issue is far more complex than it might seem at first glance.
Definitely, there are so many interconnected factors at play here. Economic policies, technological advancements, social equity, environmental sustainability, it's all intertwined.
And it really highlights the importance of thinking critically about these issues.
Absolutely. We need to consider the broader implications of policy decisions and strive for solutions that benefit society as a whole.
So for everyone listening, here's something to ponder.
Okay.
If Tesla becomes the dominant player in a shrinking electric vehicle market, is that really a success story? Or is it a sign of a deeper problem where access to clean and sustainable transportation is determined by wealth and privilege?
That's a great question.
It's a question we all need to grapple with as we navigate the future of transportation.
I agree.